Hello, my name is John Ernst, and this presentation is about the influence of Greek philosophy on the concept of wisdom in the Book of Wisdom. The Wisdom of Solomon, also known as the Book of Wisdom, is unique among the wisdom literature of the Old Testament because it was written in Greek, not Hebrew. It was probably written by a Jew from Alexandria, Egypt, in the 1st century BC, which was a society influenced by Greek philosophy. Here's a picture of an Alexandrian classroom from about the 5th century AD, where philosophy was taught. So, interestingly, while the Hebrew tradition is very prevalent throughout the book, Greek philosophy nonetheless influences the book's theology. One example of Stoicism's influence on the book is seen in chapter 7, verses 13 through 22. In this passage, Solomon prays to speak well of wisdom, because God's wisdom has led him to learn whatever is hidden or plain. Then, in 7:22, he says, "There is in her, wisdom, a spirit that is intelligent." This is a common Stoic expression for referring to God. For example, Posidonius, who some consider the most learned man of all of Stoicism, said that God is an intelligent spirit, using the same Greek words as Wisdom 7:22. In Stoic philosophy, God is the pervasive order to the cosmos, or the structure of the universe and the force of its elements, as the author of Wisdom says in 7:17. This God is also called Logos, meaning reason. However, the idea of God being the cosmic order doesn't fit with the Israelite tradition. That idea comes too close to God being his creation, which is a view warned against several times in the Bible, including in the Book of Wisdom. Just look at Deuteronomy 4:1 or Wisdom 13:1 through 9. For this reason, the author is more critical of classic Stoic theology than 7:22 might imply. This is seen in 7:15, for example, where the author clearly departs from Stoicism. He describes God as being different from wisdom by saying God is the guide of wisdom. But how can wisdom be separate from God, yet be described by the Stoics as God? The answer is that even though the author used this Stoic expression, his theology more reflects Middle Platonism than classical Stoicism. The influence of Middle Platonism is found in the continuation of the section that 7:22 appears in. Here, the author describes how wisdom is incomparable because of her relationship to God. Importantly, in verse 7:26, the author says that wisdom is the image of God's goodness. This language and concept lines up with the Middle Platonic interpretation of this statement in Plato's Timaeus. If all these things hold, then it is absolutely necessary for this cosmos to be an image of another. Thus, Gregory Sterling, dean of the Yale Divinity School, holds with certainty that the author's theology in 7:26 was influenced by Middle Platonism. The idea present in 7:26 is that the first principle that caused creation, also known as God, must transcend creation to have created it. However, how is it that God can be transcendent yet still be present to the world? In Middle Platonism, the second principle, which is called Logos, or in this book, Wisdom, is the means through which humans can experience God's glory. Now, this is all interesting, but how does this relate to our lives? For me, as someone studying both philosophy and theology, it's important to see how close the two connect here. I've known that Greek philosophy has had a great influence on Christian theology, but by seeing that Greek philosophy even had an influence on the Old Testament further demonstrates to me the importance of studying philosophy. Additionally, I think that this information has significance for our lives as Christians. As we've seen, based off the Book of Wisdom's adoption of Greek philosophy, logos is treated as a very related concept, if not a synonym to wisdom. Therefore, based off Jesus being identified with logos in John 1, we can learn about our Lord through reading about personified wisdom. And based off the Middle Platonic theology that we learned about, which teaches the same as Jesus' statement in John 14:6, we can come to the Father through seeking Jesus, the Logos. Thank you for watching this presentation. Here are the images that I used, and here is my works cited.